Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
What's going on, everybody? This is Critical Failure. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. This is being recorded on Monday at 5:05 a.m. Today's the 17th of August. Hope everybody's had a good weekend. It's been a super busy one for me. I spent the weekend focusing on my family, taking care of my kids, having a good time. We really did have a good time. It was a lot of fun. Played some video games, chilled out, listened to some music. For this week's episode, we're going to play some tracks from Battle of the Bits. Competition is heating up over there for the summer Chip 10 competition. I went and got some more tracks from that. So that'll be a good time. We're going to talk about what happened to Chiptunes Equals Win, because they're gone now, apparently. They closed down shop completely. We're going to talk some video games. And we're going to have a good time. So let's kick things off with a track from Chiptunes, Battle of the Bits. More when we come back. Stick around. It's pretty much a meme at this point that Cleater is going to be on every single one of those. That is a collaboration between Cleater and Triple P. The name of the song is The Final Bit. You can head over to Battle of the Bits and get yourself a free copy of the MP3. They do a real good job over there. I wanted to talk a little bit about Chiptunes Equals Win, which is an organization. We played quite a bit of their music here on TCR in past years. Well, in about a couple months ago, they shut down. They're gone. So if you go to the Chiptunes Equals Win entry on Bandcamp, it exists, and there's a logo there, but every single one of their albums has been switched to private. I know this because when I look at my internal library on Bandcamp, the ones that I bought and supported financially still remain available to download in my library. And there was only a couple. I think I got 7, and then the Space chip one, and then there was the winter chip one that I bought the cassette for. I still have all that stuff, so thanks for that. But they had quite a bit of music that was available to download for free for many years, and a lot of that stuff was like from cornerstone artists. I know J. Arthur Keen's, one of my favorites from more than 10 years ago, was appearing on the first couple releases from Chiptunes Equals Win. So all of that is gone, I assume, unless he released it on his personal account, I hope. There was some great stuff, which I guess is all orphaned now. So I don't know what I'm going to do, because I know a lot of that stuff was registered on CD Baby, like they would claim it if you put it on YouTube. So I'd like to play it here on the show, because I'm not super concerned about being copyright claimed. But I don't know. It's just a sad thing that they've gone. It's a big loss for electronic music in general. Battle of the Bits is still around. I would also point out that Battle of the Bits has seen more activity in the last 6 months than I think the past year, or maybe even 2 years combined. It's been very lively over there. Right now they're working on the Summer Chip 10. I think they've got a pretty heated battle going on. I just got finished going to pull some tracks to be played here on the show, and I'm pretty impressed. So that should be good. It's just kind of a shame. So I just wanted to make sure and point that out. As it took me a couple of months to figure that out, because I was giving Chiptunes Equals Win a break. I could sense a bunch of toxicity and infighting coming from the people who run it. And when I tried to look up why they shut down, there was no definitive reason given, but there was a lot of infighting and people just not getting along with each other. So apparently the community just sort of collapsed. I wish they made the decision to leave their existing music up. It bothers me that they took everything down, but when people aren't playing nice with each other anymore, it happens. These organizations, they have a shelf life, so just remember that. If you have a place that you go to get free music, make sure you're squirreling it away somewhere. I'm no different. We're having issues with archive.org right now. The TCR archive could go down at any time. So that said, my hat is off. They served us for a lot of years and produced a lot of free music and a lot of great entertainment that I've enjoyed, and my children have enjoyed as well. To this day, I have a CD that I keep in my car that's got one of their compilations on it that my kids like to listen to. So yeah, it is what it is. It's sad that I won't see them at MagFest anymore, because I have a Chiptunes Equals Win t-shirt that I got. I didn't get it at MagFest, but I saw them for sale there and ordered one as soon as I got home. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure the artists are all still around, so I'm sure another organization will rise from the ashes. But that is the to-do right now. I wanted to make sure that you all knew they were gone, because apparently they sort of shrank into the night with no big announcement, nothing like that anywhere. Yeah, so goodbye Chiptunes Equals Win. This track is called Kooks, Slice of Life. Stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the van again. It's a van cast, true blue, in the van, in a vehicle, not at my desk. It is 6:55 p.m. It just got finished raining, and I'm sitting outside of a restaurant waiting for my time to come up for a curbside pickup. This is a kava. That's what we're up for tonight. We're going to have pita bread and bowls, which would be a lot healthier than, not a bad thing to eat, except we're going to eat so much of it. I just can't wait. All right, so the last 3 episodes, we've talked about the Dreamcast quite a bit. Now, back at the very beginning of this, one of the things that came up was the Phantasy Star Online franchise, or anything that's late in the Phantasy Star series. My history with that series is I played a great deal of the original Phantasy Star on the Nintendo Wii, right around the time the Virtual Console went offline. Oh, hang on. All right. There is a severe life-threatening flooding warning for this area. So I'm going to go get in line and hope my food comes out and go home. All right. You are experiencing real time waiting for curbside pickup at the restaurant. I want to talk about Phantasy Star Online. I got sidetracked for just a second. I played it on the Nintendo Wii a little bit, the first one, the very first Phantasy Star game. I remember playing Phantasy Star 2 when I acquired it on the Sega Genesis. And, hang on a second. Yeah, so I played 2 on the Sega Genesis, but not much. 2 required a lot of grinding in the beginning, and I couldn't quite stick with it. I thought it was awesome, but I didn't get as hooked on the story as I did on the first one. That's really it for me in Phantasy Star. I never got beyond that. I've got 2. I ended up buying 3 when I was purchasing games for the Sega, and I still have it hanging around. But I remember the first game the most, and I never played any of the Phantasy Star Online games. That's just a quick recap. So you can imagine my surprise when Phantasy Star Online 2 would come out on Steam just this past week. Not only did it come out on Steam, but it came out on Steam free to play. Free game. Pretty exciting. So I headed over to the store page, getting ready to partake, and lo and behold, it is a 74 gigabyte download, so a big game. So I says, all right, I'm going to wait a bit before I check this out. Not a long time, but this was like a few minutes before work. I wanted to spend those few minutes poking around doing some fun stuff. I wasn't ready to just cash it all in for a big install. All right. So I went down to the review section. I wanted to see what the public opinion on this game was. Well, it's pretty positive for the game. As it turns out, it looks like it was an exclusive on the Microsoft store. And that has since been removed, and it's now on Steam, which is awesome. There is, however, third-party software involved with this particular instance of the game, which people are saying bogs down the system so badly that it has become a problem for some people. Furthermore, the anti-cheat that it installs, some people are calling it a rootkit, and it doesn't uninstall when you remove the game. So there's that. That's enough to make me, that coupled with the 74 gigabyte download has got me enough to, I don't know. I think I'd rather pay the $5 or whatever it is and get a disc copy of one of the older versions now. But I did want to point out that Phantasy Star Online 2 is a thing. It is on Steam. It is free to play. The trailer looked great. One of the reviews said it was it's like Diablo with waifus. So take that as you will. All right. I did manage to successfully collect the food. I am doing the drive home. It is really gray out right now. I got that big alert earlier saying this is a life-threatening flash flood warning, so I'm getting out of it as quick as I can. I'm only a couple of minutes away from the house, so I imagine I'll be just fine. But that sure is disconcerting to have that come in while I'm, one of the few minutes while I'm actually out and about. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys back to the studio. Hopefully I'll live long enough to see you there. All right. Back in the studio. Just going to take a quick minute to thank the sponsors. This is a Patreon-sponsored program. And these individuals, I usually say they give their resources to make sure I can come back every single week. And here, I can't think of a better example. Scraping out of bed at 4:30 to make sure we can get TCR together for the week. Thank you all so much for your contributions and for keeping it alive. To these individuals, I offer early access to the show. As soon as I get it done, it goes up for them, where everybody else it goes up Monday morning. And I also read their names off in a hall of a distinguished gentleman. And they are Hemrock, EmeraldRangers.com, Tecmo Balls, Dorabka, Konstantin Kelman, and Eric Controller. Thank you guys very much, and I hope you're enjoying the party. All right, let's talk some video games. Discovered a game that I enjoyed very much with my son over the past week. We were just scraping through my Steam collection, checking out some of the games that I've been sitting on forever and I haven't played. And I came across one called Battle Block Theater, which I enjoyed very much. Think like simple side-scrolling with hand-drawn graphics, very similar to the Alien Hominid games made by the same people, with some like trip-hop background music and a level editor. This is a lot of fun. The gameplay is pretty simple. I mean, in terms, if you played good side scrollers, you've played this one many, many times. You go through each level, you collect all the gems, you go to the next level. That's pretty much it. It has sort of a collector vibe to it. You'll enter a stage with like 6 or 7 gems, and you only need 3 to move on to the next level. So you can leave, but you don't leave because you want to catch them all. I don't know, not much to it, but I've really been enjoying it. It's the kind of game where you can tell they spent a lot of time. They took their time and got the music just right, got the graphics just right. There's a pretty ever-present sense of humor. It's a good game, Battle Block Theater, and it's been out for several years, so you're very likely to find a good deal on that one. I also sat down and played Saturday mornings in my house. We have like a kids club game time in my office. The kids come upstairs, I hold the little one, and the 2 older kids can play some video games, and we hang out. So usually they play, when they do that, for a long time they played Terraria every week. Then they kind of broke off from Terraria. Recently my daughter had been playing Minecraft, and my son had moved on to Pokemon Puzzle League on the Wii. So my daughter wanted to play something else, because, Minecraft had been making her upset when her time finishes. And she's got to be all done with video games. When she was playing Minecraft, it was always a problem. So she wanted to try something else. So I said, okay, let's try some Mario. And she said, okay, well, what do you mean? And I brought up the Super Nintendo emulator. Now, ironically, with Super Nintendo emulation, you usually think, well, of a file with 1,000 ROMs in it or whatever. But in this case, we were only playing the ROMs for games I physically own, and it just kind of worked out that way. So she got to try Super Mario World for the first time, which she enjoyed, but she said it was very difficult for her because she's only 6. She tried Super Mario World, and she tried the original SimCity for the Super Nintendo as well, which she also enjoyed very much. I had to guide her and tell her where to put things. But she dug it, man. It was a good time. It's pretty surreal seeing her play the games that I played when I was very young as well. yeah, it was a good time. It was a good family moment. It happened just this weekend. Alright, this one's called The Bold Shall Taste the Glory. It's from Majesty, M-A-J-S-T-Y 14, Majesty 14. From Battle of the Bits, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. I miss van casting, boys and girls. Van casting would get me out of jams like this where I'd wake up, the weekend would be almost over, and I didn't really have much. Oh, boy. Good weekend for video games, though, man. I got some good game time, man. Excuse me. Alright, let's head over to YouTubins and see what the comments look like this week. Here we go. Excuse me. Alright. This is the part where CF slurps tea into the mic. Gotta say, I'm feeling a lot more awake, a little bit better, a little bit ready. Now that it's 5:35 in the morning. Alright, so last week was 4:37. Sega lives on. We got two, one from Death Adder and one from Sendu. And then there's some various other video comments that we have. Death Adder writes, it would be very possible to build a spaceship using 200 PlayStation 2s, but they'd need to add at least 50 Xbox 360s, exploding red rings of death to launch them into orbit. That was the missing calculation. I could totally see humans landing on the moon for the first time ever by 2024 with this kind of technology. It's pretty funny. Yeah, man, I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest. Maybe they thought there was some secret moon technology in the PS2s. The way they looked like the obelisk from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Death Adder, man. Thanks for saving the day with a comment. Hope you're doing well. Sendu says, I will say this about Saturn RPGs. While Bernie didn't like them, a few gems did sneak through his grasp. Shining Force 3, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Dragon Force, to name a few. Saturn even got a port of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Yeah, man. Saturn has some gems. It's weird because the thing about Saturn is that the gems that are found there that you typically think of as expensive games, you can't really find them anywhere else. You know, most games have multiple ports, and there's a few exclusives or whatever, but Saturn is like nearly all of their well-known games are these Saturn exclusive mega expensive titles or ports of games where the Saturn port is special for one reason or another. I think there were a few exceptions on the Xbox Live Arcade back in those days. I can't even think of what the name of what the game is off the top of my head because it's so early and my brain is just like sputtering. But there was a beat 'em up that Angie and I used to like growing up. It was like a 6-player beat 'em up that had sort of a Dungeons and Dragons type setting. And that got ported to XBLA at some point. And that's the main reason why I still have my Xbox 360 hooked up, is for those XBLA games. Because I think Xbox 360, in terms of hardware, was a piece of junk. And I think it's the system that it really brought paying for internet to the forefront. Paying for internet twice. But, man, some of the XBLA releases were amazing. That was also the first place I had King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Was on XBLA. What a good game. Oh my gosh. That is the single best roster of any fighting game ever. Fight me. King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. It's the best SNK roster, for sure. For sure. You could argue there's some Capcom games that do it better, maybe. Street Fighter 3 Alpha is pretty close. Street Fighter 3 Alpha 3 might be a little better. But Street Fighter Alpha 3 and King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match, those are the two best roster fighting games ever. That's a mainstay for me now when it comes to fighting games. I have it on Steam and GOG as well, but XBLA was the first place I ever got it. I remember because I got it because NG was a big SNK guy, and I didn't really know much about King of Fighters. I had played with a couple of the King of Fighters characters in Mugen before, but I had never really dug into an SNK fighting game and gotten good at it. So I just bought that so I could have something to play when NG came around. Man, what a good game. Oh my gosh. I never did beat it. Well, that's not true. I did beat him a little bit. See, the trick with playing against NG was, because he was way better at fighting games than me. The trick was, I would get warmed up faster than him. Okay? So if I could get practiced, when he came around, I would be able to beat him for a solid like 30 minutes. And I would beat him like 50 to 75% of the time. Like, it was pretty close. But then he would get warmed up and he'd get cooking, and then I couldn't touch him after that. So I'd have to play him for like an hour minimum. I couldn't just be like, all right, what? No, as soon as I'm done winning, okay, we're not playing anymore. I'm not playing anymore. We're doing something else. I don't want to play this anymore. Stupid game. Good times, man. I miss those games very much. Yeah. King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on the PS3 were the fighting games I would venture to say we had the most fun with. So we got a couple of one-off comments on some other things as well. I posted a video several years ago, which is currently entitled Strange Handheld Pocket Game Player. And this was literally, it was a little handheld game that my father-in-law had hanging around on his desk, and he was like, hey man, I've got this, I know you do YouTube, I have this game here, if you want to try it, I guess you could. I'm looking to see if I can figure out how many years ago this was posted, because it's been a while. I think I might have to actually open the video, because I don't know how to find it from the back end. I know you're probably going to hear it on the on your end, so stick with me. Yeah, 2013 is when this came out, so 7 years ago. Golly. People still leave comments on this. And it actually, in terms of my content, it did very well. What's the viewership look like? I should pull my father-in-law aside and tell him about it. Yeah, 7,977 views. Pretty good for me. Pretty good for me. My favorite comment is one from Alfredo Lorenzo Jr. He says, my question is, where do these things come from? I love it. But what's the one that just came in? Sort by newest first. Excuse me. Master L writes, through the debug menu, holding the reset and rotate, I remember finding a consistent way of unlocking like 10 versions of Tetris. I found this video trying to find out how to do it again because it's been years. Lol. That's pretty awesome. I don't think I have that toy anymore either. I was cleaning house. I had to get rid of a bunch of stuff just because my things were overwhelming me, and I had to clear out some space. And I think it went, or rather, I got rid of it. I don't want to say that as if it was some unknown outside force that just swallowed my belongings. No, I cleared it out. I needed space for good things. I can't buy video games anymore because there has to be space to put them, which is something I'm working on. I managed to get rid of 3 big garbage bags full of stuff. Nothing of value. Absolutely zero value. 3 big garbage bags. Nothing I could sell online. Nothing like that. Out the door. So now I can get a few new video games, which is something that I can't believe I'm bringing this up 35 minutes into the show. Which is kind of an exciting thing for me because that's another reason I haven't really been collecting physical games so much over the last year or two. Well, I'll say year. Is that there's not a lot of... I'm having space issues, okay? So clearing things out opened me up. I can actually buy a few games, and I've got plenty of space on the old shelf for Rooney to put them. It's great. It's great. I ended up with a lot of PS2 and Xbox, that sort of thing, type games that would just never get played. I've got a stack of games here that's getting ready to go. I'm looking for homes for. Yeah, well, read it. Well, if you made it 36 minutes in on this show, then you deserve to hear this. This is what I got. Original Xbox, I've got Ghost Recon and Ghost Recon Island Thunder. They're getting ready to go. Now, okay, I liked Ghost Recon, the original Ghost Recon, quite a bit back when I lived with a buddy of mine in a basement. We had this original Xbox, and Ghost Recon was one of the games we had. We would play it whenever we would get tired of Halo. We'd play Ghost Recon. I think that's what we were playing when we got a hold of Halo for the first time. We had been playing Ghost Recon. Tactical shooting, but it did have a split screen sort of battle mode, which we had some fun with. So I got a hold of Ghost Recon, and then Island Thunder is like an expansion pack for the original Ghost Recon, but it was made into a standalone game. I got that. I found them in the used bookstore, and I repurchased them. But I have them on Steam, and they honestly don't get played anymore. And I'm just ready to let them go. So if you contact me if you're interested in Ghost Recon and Ghost Recon Island Thunder for the original Xbox. Also, the 3 following PS2 games. Call of Duty Finest Hour. I've had it for like a decade and it hasn't gotten played. And Call of Duty 3. I like Call of Duty games. I like them. It's just these are not going to get played. They're not. And I know people really like these as well. This is like the prime time to buy for PS2 and for Xbox 360 because I see those games getting dumped. I can't sell these on eBay. They're going for peanuts. It's not worth it. So if they're going to go, then I have to put them in a lot and then put them on like one of those Craigslist type deals where it's like anybody within the neighborhood can come pick it up for $5 or something. The only one that actually carries any value is Blood Rain 2. I think goes for like $10 or something online. I guess I could get $10 off of it. But that's my stack that's getting ready to go out the door because they are actually functioning video games and because this is what I do. They're not just going in the garbage. I'm taking the extra step and trying to find a home for them. I'm not even worried about making money. That's not the issue. The issue is about making space. So if you're interested in any of those games, give me a heads up. All right, we're 39 minutes in. It's really early. I'm barely awake. Let's do one more track before we close out for the week. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let me consult the track list here. This is a song that I need to hear in the morning. Talk about pep. This is a nice peppy number. It has a vibe akin to like a vacation sort of deal. It makes me think of Final Fantasy VII. Do you remember in Final Fantasy VII, if you've played through that game, when you get to the Costa del Sol village, it's like a beach resort? That's this. Dammy Fortune is the name of the artist. I want a cold drink right now. You're listening to TCR. Stick with us. that's the show for this week. It's been a little music heavy because I was just so busy with my family, and I don't have my drives to the office to really put a show together on the fly like I used to. So thanks for jamming to some chiptunes with me and talking about some stuff. I'll leave you with this. Rather than just closing the show like I normally do, we'll do another song, because why not? That's what I have for you. We'll jam with it. You guys know I've been doing this record label thing where I'm basically just talking to other synth collectors and stuff like that, and trying to put together some free albums. It's just a fun little thing. You may have seen this past week, Desm released an album with us under the name Searcher. Very, very good. Why don't we play a track from something that hasn't quite come out yet? This is a track from an acid house album that a good buddy of mine named Paul Joyner made, like, almost 20 years ago. He made this in 2002, and he did it with like a simple looping program. And he was never able to tell me how he did it, just because that's the way Paul was. Paul was a brilliant, brilliant creative mind, but he was also a very, very difficult person to talk logistics with. He's not somebody who is in my life anymore. Unfortunately, he's moved on. He's doing other things, but I did reach out to him and ask for permission to release this album on CME, so that should be coming out soon. So this week I will say goodbye by playing one of the tracks off of Paul's Comp USA Acid House album. He called it Comp USA because at the time he would joke about using a copyrighted name or logo so that he could get famous in the lawsuit while he was getting sued, which is pretty funny. I think it's funnier because Comp USA is not around anymore. He's a funny guy. All right, boys and girls, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Wherever it is you're going, whatever it is you're busy with, whatever it is you're doing, even if you're just hunkered down trying to stay safe, God bless. I'm rooting for you. I really am. Don't give up, because it's going to work out. Okay? Take care. I'll see you next week.